So before starting this NEP 2020, what exactly the policy is, how they actually conduct the different surveys and meetings of this NEP 2020, and then we can discuss the different things on this NEP 2020. So basically, if you read this NEP, then in the evaluation of education policy, there were various policies like University Education Commission in 1948, Secondary Education Commission 1952, Education Commission 1964, the National Policy on Education 1968, then 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976, Education in Concurrent List, then NP, National Policy on Education, that is 1986, that is the last and important policy, and then it is modified in 1992. So it is a current policy which is of 1986 and modified in 92, and then TSR Subramaniam Committee report has submitted on 27th May 2016, and on that basis, then the another committee will form, and that committee forms, that is K. Kasturi Rangan Committee. So when anyone can discuss about this NEP 2020, normally the K. Kasturi Rangan names come into exist because the chairman of this committee for this NEP 2020 is Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan. So on 31st May 2019, they have come up with the solution or the draft of NEP 2020. And this is the background of this NEP 2020, that is the consultation process, because many of us has read that policy, then they may discuss the various issues which are involved in this process, in this policy. But before criticize the NEP 2020, we should know the facts. And the facts are near about 2.5 lakhs Gram Panchayat, 6,600 blocks, and 6,000 urban lower blocks, 676 districts are involved in the different surveys which are conducted under this NEP 2020. So before drafting these policies, before drafting these all points, before drafting this all these 4 chapters, everything is involved in this policy. So this policy is available on mygovernment.in officially on 26/1/15 to 31st/10/15, and in this duration all the surveys are done. So that document was open for all the suggestions, and that is why then the suggestions are come. Then draft of NEP 2019, that is summary is made in 22 languages, and audio book is also made. Then education dialogue with the MPs of AP, Kerala, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, Karnataka, and Odisha has done. And again, some suggestions which are valid suggestions are implemented in this draft NEP. And then special meeting of CAB, that is Center Advisory Board of Education, has done on 21st September 2019. And then Parliamentary Standing Committee on Human Resource Development, that is HRD, on 7th November 2019 has done. So this is a small idea of what exactly the consultation process has done before finalizing or publishing this NEP 2020. So we must know this background, then we can understand what exactly the importance of this NEP 2020. So what is the vision of this policy? So the main target of this policy is to transform India into Bharat. Under this vision, the different statements are there, like to develop the education system deeply rooted in Indian ethos, which has the capability to provide high quality education to compete in the global world. So high quality education is the main keyword for the first vision of this policy. Then the curriculum and pedagogy must develop a sense of respect towards fundamental duties and Constitution of India and have a deep bond with the country. So with the help of this policy, bonding of this curriculum structure, bonding of this education with the country is the another motive. Then develop a sense of pride and respect for the country and be responsible for human rights, sustainable development, global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizens. So when the drafting of this policy, the vision of this policy is deciding, then they have decided the global level thinking. And that is why this human rights, sustainable development, and global well-being is involved under the vision of this policy. So let us start the discussion for this NEP 2020. So what exactly the NEP 2020 is? So under this NEP 2020, they are going to ensure about the inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. So that is the main motive. And the reference for this motive is that is the goal 4 of the 2030 agenda. So with reference to the goal 4, which is decided for the global education development agenda, and under the SDG 4, that is socioeconomically disadvantaged group, that is the motive that we have to ensure the inclusive and equitable quality for all these SDG 4 categories students by 2030. That is the main aim of this policy. So in this policy, the K. Kasturirangan committee has thought different skills like more experiential skills, holistic approach, integrated skills, inquiry driven, discovery oriented, learner centered, or discussion based, flexibility in the courses, in the curriculum, in the teaching learning process. Different courses should be added, some courses should be eliminated, and of course, the enjoyable learning teaching process. So from that point of view, the curriculum may be designed in different forms, and that should be involved the basic arts, crafts, humanities, games, sports and fitness, then languages, literature, culture, values, in addition to the science and mathematics. Because in the current policy, we are focusing on the science and mathematics only, but all these factors should be involved, and that is the main characteristics of this NEP 2020. So they have decided to have a different approach toward this education policy, and they have discussed that we already have the world-class institution in this India. So we should refer the world-class institution of ancient India, such as Nalanda, Takshashila, and we should refer the details about the Indian education systems where the great scholars are there or were there. That is the like Chanakya, then Aryabhatta, Bhaskaracharya, etc. So we have to refer the ancient education of India. We have to refer the world-class institutions. We have to refer the Indian great scholars, and then we have to decide some of the policies, and that must include the fundamental reforms. So teacher is another focus than the other than the students, and teacher must be at the center of these fundamental reforms in these education systems. And these systems and this policy should provide to all the students, that is decided by the central government. So that is the basic introduction about this NEP 2020. So as far as this summary of this NEP 2020 is there, there are 4 chapters or the part. That is, first is related to the school education, other is related to the higher education, third is related to the other key areas of focus, and fourth one is related to the making it happen. So these 4 parts are divided into 27 points. So in the part 1, there are 8 points. We will discuss it later on. Then part 2, that is under higher education, the points are from 9 to 19. Then In the part 3, that is under other key areas of focus, points are from 20 to 24, and make it happen, that is 25 to 27. So there are 27 points, 4 parts, and approximate 66 pages under this NEP 2020 summary policy, which is available on the My Government website. So these are the fundamental principles, or it is also called as key principles of this NEP 2020. So respect for the diversity and local context in all curriculum, pedagogy, and policy. So that should be involved under this policy. Then equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all the educational decisions. Then community and participations, encouragement and felicitations. Then for philanthropic, private, and community participations. Then use of technology in teaching and learning, removing language barriers for Divyang students, that is physically handicapped students, and in educational planning and management. Then another principle is emphasize conceptual understanding. So rather than rote learning method, that is remembering technique or mug-up method, we have to focus on the understanding. Then unique capabilities, recognizing, identifying them in each students, that is another principle. Then critical thinking and creativity. So to encourage the logical decision making, innovation, logical reasoning criteria, etc., we have to add this critical thinking and creativity of it. Then continuous review, that is based on the sustainable research and regular assessment by the educational experts. So these are the different foundational principles or the fundamental principles or the key principles which are thought of by this committee, and they have involved various activities and different points with reference to these fundamental principles. So that is applicable for the school education as well as for the college education also.